Wow, so I finally get to talk about the Street Fighter collection. This one's going to be very interesting. Released in 1997, Street Fighter Collection is a fighting game compilation that was released for the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn. It contains the original Super Street Fighter 2 and its follow-up Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, as well as an enhanced version of Street Fighter Alpha 2 titled Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold, otherwise known as 02- in Japan. It was followed by a second compilation that came out in 1998 known as Street Fighter Collection 2, which was also released for the PlayStation and the Saturn, and that one featured the original Street Fighter 2 along with Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition and Hyper Fighting, basically re-releasing all of the versions of Street Fighter 2 to the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. But for this video, we're going to focus specifically on the original collection, the one that contains Super Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 2. So the Super Street Fighter 2 games are ported directly from the CPS2 arcade versions. Both games feature the standard arcade, versus, and option modes. In Super Turbo, the Super Street Fighter 2 versions of the returning characters, as well as a hidden character, Akuma, are playable through easier means in addition to the ones provided in the original arcade version. It should be noted that this version of Super Turbo is very easy compared to the original arcade and HD remix versions, which were both punishingly difficult. Regardless of this, the Sega Saturn version in particular has been praised for being very faithful to the original arcade, whereas the PlayStation version has been criticized for being very buggy. On to Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold, otherwise known as 02-. This is the second game as part of the collection that's on the second disc. It's an enhanced arcade version of the original Street Fighter Alpha 2 that was released in Japan, Asia, and South America. All of the game modes and features in the previous PlayStation and Saturn versions of the original Alpha 2 are featured, with the exception of the exclusive gallery mode in the Saturn version of Alpha 2. Evil Ryu, who was selectable in the Saturn version of the original Alpha 2 but not in the PlayStation version, is featured in both versions of the game this time, along with the Champion Edition style renditions of all the Street Fighter 2 characters featured in the game. Exclusive to this version of the game is the debut of Super Street Fighter 2 character Cammy in the Alpha series, who is selectable as a hidden character in the game's versus and training modes. This version of Cammy is the same one that was previously featured in X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which depicts Cammy as a Shadaloo agent working for M. Bison before joining Delta Red. The bottom line is that the Street Fighter collection was praised for being arcade-perfect conversions. However, at the time of release, a lot of critics judged it for being way too weak to be worth buying, especially considering other fighting games that were released at the time. One thing critics were puzzled on was the fact that Capcom chose to include Super Street Fighter 2, which is widely regarded at the time as one of the weakest in the series, over much more beloved Street Fighter games, and found that Street Fighter Alpha 2 Gold was too similar to the original Alpha 2, which was most of the compilation's prospective audience who would own it already, especially since the original Alpha 2 was critically acclaimed on the Saturn and the PlayStation. While the inclusion of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was met with widespread approval, it was still considered an insignificant reason to buy the collection on its own. Jeff Gertzman of GameSpot additionally felt that Street Fighter Collection should have included the entire series when he said, and I quote, "Capcom truly missed out on a great opportunity by releasing a collection that is obscenely incomplete." One of the most controversial things ever done with this collection is the fact that the PlayStation 1 version of this game was used at EVO 2005, which a lot of people felt was very odd considering the fact that the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, which contained Hyper Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, was out during that time, and let's be real honest with you, it definitely improved on the original Street Fighter collection. Why they didn't use that is beyond me, but you know what? It is what it is. In my own opinion, the Street Fighter collection on Sega Saturn is the one that I recommend. As I said before, the PlayStation 1 version was regarded as the buggy version, except for Alpha 2 of course, but it's Street Fighter 2 in particular that was very buggy, whereas the Sega Saturn version on the other hand is more faithful to the original arcade, which is one of the main reasons why the Sega Saturn is regarded as a very powerful 2D system, because of how it's able to replicate arcade games, particularly fighters, platformers, and things of that nature. I just wanted to get this quick review out of the way, only because I just wanted to say something about it, and because I'm pretty sure you guys probably have your own opinions about it. You guys want to know my own perspective on it. The bottom line is that this, while it may not be the definitive way to play Street Fighter 2, especially with the 30th anniversary collection being out, which does contain the original arcade version of Super Street Fighter 2, I would say that this only comes to a handful of people who are into collecting video games like myself. So in other words, this is only for the most hardcore fans. Honestly, if you do have a Sega Saturn, definitely pick this up. I would recommend you get the Japanese version, as the American version is the hardest one to find and is the most expensive, whereas the Japanese version is much more affordable. That pretty much knocks out this quickie of SOG reviews. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to select all, so that way you guys will be notified for when I upload new videos. Until then, this is Shiz Network signing off.